Hey, what's going on? Hey, Lord of the Rings fans. It's your favorite Lord of the Rings content creator, KnewBettaDoBetta, here with my co-host, KaliCosplay. Introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the second episode of our podcast, Voices of Arda. I'm KaliCosplay, and we have today with us a very special guest.
Very special guest. Very special guest. GlamdringFoehammer.
Hello. What's up, guys?
Glamdring, what's up, man?
Not much.
Introduce yourself to the fans.
Hi, everybody. My name's Tim. I go by GlamdringFoehammer online. I hopped on to TikTok recently, trying to put some Tolkien music out there into the world. Two of my most favorite things ever, and it's been a wonderful experience. And I'm very happy to be here with you guys today.
Yo, man, we are ecstatic to have you. It's awesome getting such a great fan of Tolkien's work on our podcast for our first guest. I love your name, by the way. My favorite sword in the entire Legendarium is Glamdring, the Foehammer, the Beater. Yeah, it's real crucial. It's real official tissue. So this is something special for me. You know what I'm saying? Callie, man, what's going on? What are we getting into today? We're going to jump right into it. We ain't going to hold y'all. Let's go. I'm excited.
All right, so we're particularly excited to have Glamdring Tim because he wrote, of course, he put together our intro music for this podcast. So take a moment, let's thank him especially.
Thank you.
Doing the
Thank
round
you.
of
Thank you.
applause.
Thank you.
It
That,
is a
that dope ass music that you heard in the beginning, that's
hell
all
yeah.
my man right here. Me
Yeah.
and Glamdring are also working on something very, very special.
Mhm.
We're going to keep that under wraps until it's done. But when it come out, y'all going to be hyped, just as hyped as I am. So we're going to get that out to you real soon. And it's going to be something, might break the internet. It might break the internet. I think it might break the internet.
Let's
We have
hope.
we have a few plans that might be internet breaking in the coming months or so. So if you want to know more about that, please make sure to join our Discord. The links for it's in all of our profiles on all of our social medias. It is the best place to keep updated on the news and what we're doing, and to actually provide your own input into the projects that we do and what you'd like to see put out there in the world. So without further ado, we know that music, songs, and poetry play a major role in Tolkien's stories. So let's
Huge.
kick us off with a joke here because that landed so well the
I
first
can't
time.
I can't wait. Let me just loosen up real quick. Get ready for this. Get ready for this thing. All right, Callie, hit me with it. What's going
All
on?
right. So, why is it so difficult to open a piano?
It's under lock and key.
You've got the right idea. It's because the keys are in the inside.
But
Well, yo,
Yeah.
I was hoping for a good joke this week. You know what I'm saying? But we can only
Keep hoping.
ask so much.
Keep hoping, man. Keep hoping.
Where are you getting these jokes from? Yes, man. What
The
a
good
way
old
to kick off episode 2.
the good old internet.
Good old internet.
So how it all starts. How is Middle Earth created, KnewBetta? Will you give us a little story time about the creation of Middle Earth?
The creation of Middle Earth, man. Well, simple as this. It all starts out with my man Eru Iluvatar. Eru Iluvatar is basically the one God above all. There's nobody higher. There's nobody that surpasses him in strength, power. He is it. So if you want to liken him to a deity or a God that we know of, think of Jehovah, God. He is the one. He is it. There's everything else is under him. So Eru starts the creation of everything. Okay. Then we get our other gods and our other deities or entities, as such as the Maiar, elves, and men, and any other thing that's created, come from him. So it starts with Eru, and then from his being, from the nature of his being, from his mood, however you want to say it, he creates what are known as the Ainur. The Ainur are the gods of Middle Earth and the Maiar of Middle Earth. Okay, so he creates the Ainur, and he creates first the strongest of the Ainur is Melkor. He creates him from his being. So I guess I don't know if he was in a foul mood. I don't know what was wrong with this man at this time, but Melkor turned out, just wrong. He was evil. He was hateful. He was jealous. Just all the things that could go wrong. Was he was envious? It was literally Melkor. And then we have good beings such as Manwë, who is the king of the Valar. The Valar is just another name for the Ainur that are on Earth. So Manwë is the king. He is Melkor's brother. And then we have Varda, the queen of the stars. Anything you can think of, they have a god that pretty much cover it. We have Mandos, the god of the dead. We have Olmo, the god of water, who is, if we're talking about song, who is most instructed by Eru in song. Now, there's plenty of other gods I can talk about that were created, plenty of the Maiar, but you get the point. They're made from Eru or Iluvatar's being his moods, and they all get bequeathed certain powers and things. Now, he told them, I want you to sing a theme, and in this theme is going to come the creation of the world. When you guys are going to, sing a theme or play a theme, whatever which way you want to do it, and it's going to come the creation of Arda and all the things that are in Arda, and everything that is in Arda is going to come from what you're singing and being. And then, also he's going to put things in there that comes a little later. So he instructs the Ainur to begin this great theme of music, and it's going to create Arda and all the things within it. And let's say Yavanna, who is the goddess of nature, if she sings or plays a tune about trees, then trees are going to exist, and grass and flowers, and that's how the world comes into being. And let's say Melkor, he in this theme, he wants to weave discord and hatred and evil things, then that's going to be in the being. So he instructs the Ainur to start singing, and it's the first theme. They start singing the first theme, and they're all in tune, and they're all in harmony, and it's great. And then here comes Melkor. Melkor starts singing a different tune. And because Melkor is the strongest of the Ainur, some of the other Ainur and beings start attuning to his theme instead of Eru's, because they're just like, wait, what's going on? Are we supposed to be singing it? And they start attuning to him. Now Eru hears this and he's like, nah. And he just he stops the theme altogether. And what was made, and it's in the world. But he's like, all right, start up a second theme, strike up the band again, guys. And he goes and he lifts his hand and they start singing again. And it's great harmony. It is wonderful. And then what does my guy Melkor do? He's just the jerk of the week. He starts singing his own tune again. Like the asshole he is, he starts singing his own tune again, and he's disrupting the theme, and it's just creating discourse and all evil things and all these bad things he's weaving into the second theme. And Eru, in my envisioning in my head, Eru was just like, I can't believe this guy. Is this guy serious? And he literally stops the second theme. And this third part is one of the most profound things in the entire Legendarium to me. So you strike up the third theme. Everyone starts singing in tune and harmony again. Immediately, Melkor back in the jerk mode. He starts singing his theme. His theme, people are attuning to it. And this time, instead of Eru stopping the theme, he literally allows Melkor to weave his song into the theme and his discord and whatever may have you. And then he completes it with an extremely high note. He completes the tune just like oh man, it was just beautiful. Like how he's conductor. He was just and he raises up and then he ends it all in one note. And he literally says to Melkor, you think you know what you're doing. Like you think what you're doing is of your own accord, but everything you're doing is through me because I allow it, or it was because of me. So it's really interesting because people always ask, hey, KnewBetta, why didn't Eru just stop Melkor? He could have easily just stopped him from singing altogether or made him into non-existence or everything. So this is an interesting thing. And the reasoning I always give people is he probably realized Melkor is from me. Who's to say that this isn't part of the world. It's happening. I'm going to allow it to happen because this discord is going to create beauty in the world from them fighting against this discord. The push and the pull, the light and the dark. Would be no light without dark, would be no dark without light. So I think he realized that, and he's like, you know what? This is what's going to make the dynamic of the world. And he allowed Melkor to weave it. He also let Melkor know, like, hey, don't think you did something special. This is all through me. This is of my design. At the end of the day, I allowed this to happen. So all the things came into being. The world started existing. The main Ainur go down into the world and become the Valar. So we have Manwë, Olmo, Yavanna. We have Varda, Mandos. Mandos. We have Orome. We have Tolkis comes down eventually. Aule, the Smith god. All these different beings come down and they rule over the world. And Eru instructs them to, hey, prepare the world for the firstborn, his children, who are the elves, and then later the secondborn, who are men. So all this is done through the creation with music, through song, and song is extremely important throughout Tolkien's entire legendarium. And as I said, Olmo, the god of waters, was most instructed in music from Eru himself. So we know in the Silmarillion, he literally is the one that stays in contact with the elves even when they're banished to Noldor, and he can hear through the rivers, and he sends dreams and things through song, and it's just extremely important. And then we look at a creature like Tom Bombadil, who literally fights off incredibly powerful beings, and he's incredibly powerful, and he does this through song. And people are like, where did he come from? My thought process is that Tom Bombadil was a part of the third theme, because Eru also said when the theme was done, there are going to be things in this theme and in the world that you guys aren't going to know about. They're just going to pop up, and I put them in there. You're not going to know why they're there or when they got there, but I put them there. I think Tom Bombadil is one of those things, and that's all done through music. Glamdring, what do you think about the Tom Bombadil thing as far as my theory with the theme?
With the theme, I've definitely heard it before, and if you look at the character of Tom, he can trace all the way back to before the elves, before the Valar even really created Arda to what it is that we know of. He only sings. He rarely just talks like with his speaking voice, and all of his power comes from his music. He stops Old Man Willow with a song. He stops the Barrow Wights with a song.
Yeah.
He has enchantment with him. I like to think that moment when Iluvatar says "Ea," the manifestation of the music of the Ainur, that's the spark that brought him into the world. So I'm right on board with you that he is like the music incarnate in the world. And there's a reason why he's so powerful, and there's a reason why he only sings. Yeah. So it makes total sense. I'm right on board with you there.
Kali, what do you think?
I have been playing around with that theory in my mind for a while, and I like it. I like the theory. It makes sense. I mean, we are severely lacking any other explanations, really, for Tom Bombadil. So,
yeah.
No, I like that one, and it's poetic and it's very Tolkien.
Very, very, very Tolkien.
Yeah, so music is what started the whole thing, and throughout the readings of really all of the books in the across the Legendarium, poems and songs and verses play a huge role. When I was younger, I have to admit that I found it a little bit difficult sometimes to read through them. He would have someone singing, and it would be 6 pages of verse. And in my younger days, I was wanted to get on with the story, so I would skip those pages. But as we keep saying with Tolkien, the reread value is what makes it amazing, as you can go back and you can reappreciate those songs. So, do either of you have like favorite songs, verses, and poems throughout the series that stuck out for you?
Absolutely. Literally, my favorite poem is from The Hobbit, Far Over the Misty Mountains Cold. And the reason it's my favorite, the type of poetry used there. I love it. I likened it to rap in my head. I'm very much into hip hop. I completely got it right away because when I read it, and then you read right after the poem, literally Bilbo goes, well, what are we doing? What are we talking about? And they say, didn't you hear our song? And then when you think about the song, he completely describes what happened to the dwarves in the song. And if you weren't paying attention, you might miss it and just think, oh, he's just chatting, or they're just singing some arbitrary words. Nothing is arbitrary about it. It all has very specific and beautiful meaning, and the way it's sung, it's not typical at all. It's beautiful and poetic, and it resounded with me, and I was like, wow. The use of language to convey points and beauty in the song really struck a chord with me, and that is just my favorite song. There are others that come close, but for some reason that song just literally just resounds in me. So what is your favorite song, Glamdring?
So I've always loved that one. The first time reading The Hobbit, it really stuck out. The dwarves are all there; they're hanging out. They all bust out instruments,
Yeah.
and they're playing Gandalf. I can't remember if it's in the book. It might just be in the cartoon. He says, "There's a magic in this music."
Yeah.
For me, I the first time reading Fellowship, I was like, or even The Hobbit, because I read The Hobbit first. Was this is a musical? I wasn't expecting, there's swords and shields and dragons. Why is it a musical? But the whole book is all of the Hobbit. I love the music, but there in the Lord of the Rings, there's a lot of really deep, meaningful, sad songs. Like we hear of Luthien from Aragorn, or the one that really stands out to me is Galadriel's farewell song in Lorien. I sang of leaves of gold and leaves of gold there grew, talking about how she doesn't know if she can ever go back to Valinor. And it's very meaningful. And then she sings in Elvish to Frodo, and he translates it, and he's like, she was hoping that maybe one day he'll get there. And it's very beautiful. And it's at that moment, it's the last break that they ever get before the journey continues to its end. And it's that last moment of peace, and for that farewell, it's very beautiful. I've always loved that.
I agree, man. I agree. Callie?
Yeah, no, there's all the songs, but for my favorite one this time, I picked one that's a little more lighthearted. It's Bilbo's bath song. Uh, it's very funny, and as someone who personally loves to take a nice hot bath, uh, that one resounded with me. So, if I may, I actually have it here, and I will do a reading if we would like to hear the bath
Absolutely.
song. All right, so. Sing hey for the bath at close of day that washes the weary mud away. A loon is he that will not sing. Oh, water hot is a noble thing.
Mm.
Oh, sweet is the sound of falling rain, and the brook that leaps from hill to plain. But better than rain or rippling streams is water hot that smokes and steams. Oh, water cold we may pour at need down a thirsty throat and be glad indeed. But better is beer if drink we lack, and water hot pour down the back. O water is fair that leaps on high, in a fountain white beneath the sky. But never did fountain sound so sweet as splashing hot water with my feet.
Beautiful.
Excellent, beautiful, beautiful, man. That's awesome, man. I love the just like Glenn was saying, the version I love the best because if you know anything about the book in the 1977 Rankin and Bass version of the Far Over the Misty Mountain song, they changed the verse. They didn't change it; they just switch it around. So the second verse and the third verse, if I'm not mistaken, they swap them, and it actually sounds better when they swap it to me. So I always recite that version. It goes,
Let's hear it.
the dwarves of yore made mighty spells while hammers fell like ringing bells in places deep where dark things sleep and hollow halls beneath the fells. Goblets they carved there for themselves and harps of gold where no man delves. There lay they long and many a song was sung unheard by man or elves. For ancient king and elvish lord that many a gleaming golden hoard they shaped and wrought and light they caught, to hide on gems on hilt of sword. On silver necklaces they strung, the flowering stars on crowns they hung, the dragon fire and twisted wire, they meshed the light of moon and sun. The pines were roaring on the height, the winds were moaning in the night, the fire was red, its flaming spread, the trees like torches blazed with light, the bells were ringing in the dale, the men looked up with faces pale, the dragon's ire, more fierce than fire, lay low, their towers and houses frail, the mountain smoke beneath the moon, the dwarves they heard the tramp of doom, they fled their hall to dying fall, beneath his feet, beneath the moon. And it's like so sad and beautiful, like, oh my God.
We must away ere break of day to
Day
win
when
our
our
harps
hearts
and
and
gold
gold
from
from
him.
him.
Amazing.
Yo,
And you did all that
yeah.
from memory for those
Yes,
who are
ma'am.
listening and not watching. Um, Glamdring, Tim, how do you prefer to be called, by the way?
Either is fine. I go by either. I'll definitely respond to either. You can call me
Okay.
Tim. Call me Tim. My mother
All
calls me.
right. Your mother
your,
calls you.
your mother named you Tim, so I'm gonna call you Tim.
Good.
So of course Tim is our resident musician and does many a wonderful song, and I don't want to put you on the spot or anything,
We're
but
putting you on the spot.
okay,
Everybody, we're putting him right on the spot. He's on
we're
the
putting
spot.
him on the spot. You're on the spot. So is
Break
there
out the
any
guitar. Let's hear something. Let's
what
go.
what of the music would you like to share with us, of the
Hey,
poetry?
I do not have this one memorized. I'll give you the full Galadriel's farewell song.
All
Uh,
right.
Okay.
I sang of leaves of gold, and leaves of gold there grew. Of wind I sang, a wind there came, and in the branches blew. Beyond the sun, beyond the moon, the foam was on the sea, and by the strand of Ilmarin there grew a golden tree.
Mhm.
Beneath the stars of ever eve in Eldamar it shone, in Eldamar beside the walls of elven Tirion. There long the golden leaves have grown upon the branching years, while here beyond the sundering seas now fall the elven tears. O Lorien, the winter comes in bare and leafless day. The leaves are falling in the stream, the river flows away. O Lorien, too long I have dwelt upon this hither shore, and in a fading crown have twined the golden Eleanor. But if of ships I now should sing, what ship would come to me? What ship would bear me ever back across so wide a sea? And
Hmm.
it's such a like haunting kind of thing, especially
Yeah.
if you know the unfinished tales. Christopher doesn't know if at this point when he wrote the Lord of the Rings, was there still a ban on Galadriel to go back to Valinor?
Yeah. So the ban was lifted at when Arundel went over to Valinor, but she held herself accountable and wouldn't go back until finally in the Lord of the Rings she resisted the ring, because we got to keep in mind it was not her fault, but she was kind of an accomplice to Feanor as far as being one of the people who was leading the Noldor to Middle Earth, and she was like actually with Feanor, and that's the one thing she agreed with him about. And she allowed him to fill her head with, hey, there's lands over there, and you can have your own kingdom, and it's just something she very much wanted. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, hey, she knew the ban was lifted, but she was holding herself accountable because she couldn't forgive herself for allowing herself to fall victim to Feanor's poisonous words. And what happened because of that, her people got slain. The Teleri are her people as well. She's not Noldor, just Noldor. She's
Mm-hmm.
Noldor, Vanyar, and Teleri. Her mother is a Teleri elf. So literally, it's just crazy, man. How that goes. So it's just remarkable. That song definitely conveys a lot of feelings. Yeah, I liken that song to the song that Gimli sings when he's in Moria,
Oh
and
yes.
Galadriel when they're in Lorien says a little part of it, and that's kind of what they connect through when Celeborn's yelling at him, and
Mm-hmm.
Celeborn's like, "These freaking dwarves, man! It's y'all fault that Gandalf died." He's upset about it. He kind of blames him, and then she's like, says the words from Gimli's song that he said when he was in Moria, and in Moria and Khazad-dûm, and it was a beautiful song, and He even sings of Nargothrond and Gondolin, and just the glory of the skill of the dwarves and Durin. And man, you just think about all the greatness that was there, and then you look at a place like Moria and how it's not there
Mm-hmm.
anymore, and you feel his sadness. And even Galadriel tells Celeborn, if you had a chance to visit your ancestral home, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
You got to understand, you
can't
got
do
to
that anymore,
understand.
Celeborn. It's
Yeah,
gone now.
yours is gone. You can't visit it. He had a chance to visit his home. Don't blame him. You know what I'm saying? Anybody would want to do that. And
Mm-hmm.
then when he after they escaped Moria, and Gandalf had fell, he even then, when they have to be on a run, he goes to the stone and he says, "Hey, I want you to look upon this stone. I have to do this before I go." And it's just, man, heart wrenching, and it all starts with the song. It all starts with the song. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
man, the songs are super important, man.
Yeah, so there are probably two that it would be a disservice if we had this discussion without at least referencing or reading them. All that is gold does not glitter. Do either of you know the words to
Oh
that by
yeah,
heart? Yeah?
I know it.
Tim, give
All
us.
that is all that is gold does not glitter. Not all those who wander are lost. The old that is strong does not wither. Deep roots are not reached by
Reached
the
by the
frost.
frost.
From the ashes a fire shall be woken. A light from the shadows shall spring.
Spring.
Renewed shall be blade that was
Blade that was
broken.
broken.
The crownless
Once
again
again
shall be
shall
Shall be
be
king.
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 Then Bilbo's like,
Beautiful.
I wrote that. Proto my
Bilbo's like,
lad.
I
yeah,
wrote
I
that
wrote
little
that, son.
ditty. Yeah.
Yo, Bilbo is actually a great, great songwriter and poet. Many of the songs that we
Mhm.
hear throughout the entire Fellowship of the Ring are written by Bilbo.
By Bilbo
So
himself. Yeah.
Bilbo himself.
Yeah.
The parting song when he's leaving Hobbiton. Ooh, man.
Mhm.
Ooh.
The,
But
the road
even
goes ever on.
The world
the world was ever
ahead.
on, yes.
Oh
And even
man.
Samwise Gamgee surprises them at one point, I believe, and he's singing a song, and they go, "Oh, where did that come from?" Or it's another one of Bilbo's songs, and Sam sort of mutters something, and Frodo is the one who's like, "Nah, that came from his head. Like Sam made that up. Like he knows more than
Mm-hmm.
he
Yeah.
lets on." And everybody's
What's
Um
that?
got some song in them.
What's that?
another
Gil-galad was an Elven King. Was that the one?
Oh, Gil-galad was an elven king of whom the harpers sadly sing. Oh man,
Yeah.
that is a sad one. Aragorn
Oh,
is no, Sam was singing that, right? Sam knew that
Yeah.
verse, and Aragorn told him, "Don't say that too loud," because it had the word Mordor in it, and they were being chased by the Nine.
Mm.
And oh man, it conveys so many things, but also explains so many things. You hear about Gil-galad real quick, but then in that song, you know that he was the last one whose realm was far and free, between the mountains and the sea. It's crazy. Uh, it completely explains everything. So if you get a chance to read that, I don't know the words off the top of my head. I know parts of it, but it's awesome. And then at the end, it just kind of kills you. Um, and the darkness fell a star um, in Mordor where the shadows are, and he just had a bad end, but a very valiant bad end. So Gilgalad,
Mm-hmm.
one of the great high kings of the Noldor, the longest reigning king of the Noldor. Also, I know we got to talk about one other song, Callie. What is that?
and the last one is, of course, the Ring poem.
Oh, of course,
And I believe we all know this.
we
Mm-hmm.
all know this
Who
one.
wants to give it a? Shall we give it to our guest?
We're gonna give it to you. We're gonna
To,
let you.
Yes.
We're
oh,
gonna
to
Alley,
let
me.
you.
you.
Oh,
Yes.
all right. So we have 3 rings for the Elven kings under the sky, 7 for the dwarf lords in their halls
The
of
halls of
stone,
stone,
9 for mortal men doomed to
doomed to
die,
die.
1 for the Dark Lord upon his dark
The dark
throne,
throne.
in the land of Mordor where shadows lie. 1 ring to rule them all, 1 ring to find them, 1 ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them, in the land of Mordor where shadows lie.
I feel a little jealous that you're rolling your R's like that. You're showing us up because I never do that. I know I'm supposed to, but I'm like, yeah, they're gonna just get this regular Mordor. She's
No,
like
that's good.
Mordor
Sometimes
Thor.
it's harder to understand when people start putting on the accents.
Nah, man,
Um,
that's
and
awesome. You did a great job. I
and
love
as
it.
an extra, I also know the One Ring part in Black Speech. Are we allowed to use that here?
I mean, I'm gonna open my shade so lots of sunlight come through because when you speak the black speech, it gets dark. So I'm gonna open these
Okay.
shades and you go ahead.
All
Glamdring, close
right.
your ears.
Ashnais Darbaktuluk. Ashnais Gimbatul. Ashnais Rakatuluk Agbuzumishi Klimpatul.
Never before has anyone uttered those words here in Imladris Gandalf.
And never again shall they.
Man, that is awesome. So I always a fun thing to bring up about the music in Middle Earth is cool little tidbits that they do when they take something that was in a different place or a different book and they put it in something, but it fits well. When they do that and it fits well, when they take little, maybe it's a line here or this person had a line and they give it to somebody else, but it fits. So an example, Theoden when he shouts death, death, death. In the movie, it fits perfectly. But if you didn't know, in the book, actually, Aemir says that when he finds his sister's body strewn upon the battlefield. So he actually shouts, death, death, death. But it works so much better in the film when Theoden says it, and it just gets everybody just hype and just like, yo, he's ready to sell his whole self just to save Gondor, and he's doing the right thing. So one of these moments, we all know what I'm about to say, is when Pippin is talking to Denethor, and Denethor says, do you have any songs that you could sing? And he says, I don't know these songs that are fit for great halls. And he says, why should those songs not be fit for my halls? And he starts singing the song when Faramir is riding back to Osgiliath. And it's the saddest shit on earth.
Oh gosh, the feels.
Did you like how I said earth and not earth?
Yeah, we're working on that
We're
pronunciation.
working on it. We're working on it. Nah, I'm gonna say how I say Earth. Yeah,
Sure.
you getting the Earth. I'm from New
We
York. You
know
getting
what
the
you mean.
Earth. So that song is actually from the Fellowship of the Ring. It's not from the Two Towers. It's not from the Return of the King, and it is sung by, if I'm not mistaken, sung by Frodo or one of them on their way leaving the Shire.
I
If
think it's
I'm
the three of them. It's
the three of
Pippin,
them.
Sam, and Frodo.
Yeah. I think Frodo sings it though, but I'm not 100%. So if I'm wrong, correct me. No problem there. But one of them sings it, leaving the Shire on their way to, they head to
To
Crick
Bree.
Hollow.
Okay.
They're heading to Crick Hollow
Crick
first.
Hollow
Boom,
first.
boom,
Oh.
boom. They
Ha!
skip Crick Hollow in the movies
Oh,
on their
okay.
way
Yes,
heading to
that's
Crick Hollow.
true. That's
So,
true. Yeah.
does anybody have that song where they want to? Man, that song is awesome.
See, I seem to think that Tim can sing that song pretty well.
He's
um,
laughing. We're putting him on the spot again.
Do you feel like it?
the movie version or the book version?
Um, I mean, if you want to sing, either one, and say, let us know the differences, that would be
So
awesome.
okay, so in the book, the song is called "Upon the Hearth the Fire is Red." It's a walking song that they sing as they're trying to. The chapter is Three's Company, and it's
I'm,
they're just escaping the Black Rider. They just
mhm.
encountered one on the road, and it's in between the Black Riders and them finding the elves, Gildor and the elves.
Yeah.
And it's let me see if I can remember off the top of my head. Upon the hearth the fire is red. Upon the hearth the fire is red. Beneath the roof there is a bed. But yet now weary are our feet. Around the corner we may meet. It's a very happy, uplifting song.
Yeah.
And then in the book, when Pippin is talking to Denethor, Gandalf is basically shoos him away. He doesn't have to sing. But in the movie, you get it's the bridge at the end of Upon the Hearth the Fire is Red.
Yeah.
He slightly changed the lyrics, but only slightly. Home is behind, the world ahead, and there are many paths to tread, through shadows to the edge of night, till the stars are all alight, mist and shadow, cloud and shade. All shall fade, all shall fade.
Oh man.
And in the
And
book, it's the words is away shall fade, and then he sings another line in the where it's uh, uh, talking about, and then we go to bed. That's how the song actually ends. But Pippin does a great rendition of one of Bilbo's songs for the hall, something fit for a king, and it was it's very powerful.
And the best part about that, Billy Boyd, if I'm not mistaken, right? Billy Boyd literally created the actual music for that himself, the tune to sing it to. Like the lyrics, he didn't create those obviously, but he created the own tune to sing it to, and they kept it in the movie, and it was literally, that's amazing. Fun tidbit, fun fact. So the music of Arda like literally resounded through him, came and touched his soul, and he created a great scene in the movie. The only part that I didn't like about that was my man eating tomatoes. Like, relax, my dude. Your son is about to get murked, and you're eating these cherry tomatoes, man. You should get slapped, man. You should get Will Smith. You should get Will Smith right now. You know what I mean? Yo, chill. Nah. You got to add the current events.
The current event context.
In. He was about to Will Smith. I was about to Will Smith dinner throw for that. Let your son get murked like that.
Yeah, no, I famously hate the cherry tomato eating.
Everybody talks about it. It's so funny. I think it's the funniest thing on earth. Like they talk about it. They're like, "What is your most hated moment?" And you would think that it would be, when Boromir's death, or when Gandalf dies. They're like, "I hate when Denethor was eating that tomato." I'm like, what? What? Okay. No, very, very dope, man. So music is prevalent in everything, throughout Tolkien's works. And we're just giving you like quick examples, but when you read it, do not skip the songs. Make sure you read them through. They describe so much. They're very important. You know what I'm saying?
There's definitely something that people miss when they're reading the books when it comes to the music, is that there is a magic, there's a power to it. Like we talked about, Tom Bombadil literally uses it as like an offensive force to stop the Barrow-wights and these things. Yeah. But Aragorn dressing Frodo's wound after Weathertop, he sings over the wound, trying to heal it. In the Silmarillion's a big example. You have the battle of Finrod and Sauron. It's a song of mastery, power.
Huge battle.
There's so much implications to music beyond just the lyrics and tunes. There's a literal magic in it.
Literal magic, and what the words that they're saying to each other are so profound, because they're saying events and they're singing them to each other, strengthening their power. So it was back and forth, and the sorcery of the king was very great. Like his power was very great, but Sauron was just saying some raw shit to him that was just like, yeah, you're gonna lose, my dude. You know what I'm saying? He was singing about the Noldor actually slaying the Teleriels at Alqualande, and this just overcame Finrod, because he, just like Galadriel, those are his people. I feel like through song, he made him feel guilt and lose by doing that. Him seeing a trap and then it's shutting closed, and it's Tolan Garhoth. That was Finrod's own tower. It's just things that he sung that this Finrod couldn't overcome, and he lost to Sauron in that song battle.
Mm-hmm. And our greatest example of the strongest magic probably that we see in all of the books is in a song, Luthien gets Morgoth to fall asleep.
Yes.
Literally. And is it because she is the daughter of somebody who sang in the Ainulindalë?
Well,
oof. I actually have to disagree.
Okay, let me hear what you got.
The strongest song ever sung in the Tolkien Legendarium is Luthien, but it's when she sung the song to Mandos.
Oh.
And when she sung that song, it changed the fate of elves and men.
His heart. Oh.
So it swayed his heart, and never before
never again.
They allowed them to come back to life and go be free in the world, and this changed everything. Because if that hadn't happened, there would be no Elrond, there would be no Elros, because they wouldn't have had Dior, they wouldn't have had Elwing, Dior wouldn't have had Elwing, and so on and so forth. So I think that is the strong and never before had Mandos's mind ever been changed. Never had he been moved. Mandos is stern. He is I don't know, for lack of a better word, a jerk.
He said, screw them elves, they ain't coming back. Get him out of here.
Listen, he is with the smoke. He's like, yo, Everything, like he's not having none of that. You're not changing his mind. Only person to change his mind was Luthien. You know, he has to listen to Manwë when Manwë decrees something, but that's not changing his mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even when Arundel came, he was like, so? I don't care. He's an Noldor and he's a man. So nah, F out of here. And then Manwë was like, nah, it's decreed. He can do this. He's destined to do that. But Manwë was not having it. But Luthien made him, you know, his heart melt, and he went and talked to Manwë and had Manwë decree that, you know, she had a choice to either, you know, she could live in Amon and, you know, be there forever, or she could come back to life, and Baron could come back to life, but they would be human, and they could go back to Middle Earth, and you know, they chose that, and that is amazing. So
the power of music.
Yeah. But close second, I think, is Morgoth going to sleep. Mm-hmm. Or you know, this is just my opinion, but you know, that is a feat because Morgoth is the strongest out of all of Valar. So you know, that can be argued, and I can definitely see where you're coming from. So I think you have something cool you want to tell us, Callie. Something about a gentleman. So I think you should jump into that.
Something about a gentleman. That's the most. That's how my mother would ask me when I came home from dates. She'd say, "Callie, do you have anything to tell us about a gentleman?" And I would say, "No, Mom." Actually, I have a question. Actually, more so for Tim, because I believe he knows quite a bit more about it than I do. So we just talked about Tolkien's music and poetry in his work. Now, Tolkien gave approval to, I believe, one person only really throughout his lifetime to make actual music from his poetry.
Yes.
Yes. Glamdring, please give us the story.
It's definitely an interesting story. So I've loved The Lord of the Rings almost my entire life. I only heard this story a few years ago, which is it shows like how kind of hidden away this story is. So in the 1960s, The Lord of the Rings had been out for about a decade. Mm-hmm. And there was a songwriter at the time who was used to doing like kids songs, comedy music. And he was on a vacation with his wife, who was a big fan of the Lord of the Rings books. So they read it together, and she said, why don't you try to put some of these songs to music? So he did that, and he reached out to Allen and Unwin, the publisher for Lord of the Rings, and got approval. He didn't need Tolkien's approval for this. All he needed was the publishers. But he got the approval and arranged a meeting with Tolkien. And he met him at his daughter's house, Priscilla Tolkien's house. It was Priscilla, Edith, and J.R.R. And the guy, his name is Donald Swan. And he played a song cycle for him, a couple of songs from the books. Off the top of my head, there's The Road Goes Ever On, Upon the Hearth the Fire is Red, a couple other songs, one of Bilbo's songs from Rivendell, Sit by the Fire and Think. A few things, one that he eventually scrapped because he thought it sounded like something else. But there were 6 songs. Tolkien approved 5 of them then and there, except for one. It was Nomarie, the song after Galadriel's Farewell, which I did before. Mm-hmm. And he was like, no. The other ones, they're great. But I actually had a song in mind for this when I was writing it, and it was a Gregorian chant. And Tolkien sang it for him, and Donald Swan took it, wrote it out in music, and that's how it has been recorded and preserved ever since. So Tolkien actually has a writing credit for music on his resume as well. And as
like he needed anything else. Like he needed anything else, man.
Now, there's some other recordings you can hear of him, like he sings the Stone Troll song, like actually sings it.
Oh, that's cool.
The one that Sam sings.
Sam sings.
Yep, you can find it online. Tolkien singing it. The meat was hard to come by, dum by, that kind of stuff. But yeah, that happened. It was in the 60s. They got the approval, and then Donald Swan and the performer of the piece performed it at their wedding anniversary, their 50th wedding anniversary the following year, or that year. Cool fun fact about that is Tolkien's assistant, Joy Hill, recommended a singer. Like, hey, I got this guy. He's a young baritone from the Music Academy. His name is William Elvin. So they got a dude named Elvin to sing all Tolkien songs on record, and you can go listen to it. It's online. The old recordings, half of it is Tolkien reading poems. The other half is Elvin singing all of Donald Swan's versions of Tolkien's song. Very interesting stuff. It's extremely outdated. We're talking about the 60s, and in the 60s, this was still considered a classical piece. So it's very, very operatic, and home is behind the world ahead.
Yeah.
Instead of what you hear from Pippin. And not only did Tolkien give them the approval for the original song cycle, also they made a second version that contained the. Have you guys heard of Bilbo's Last Song? It's a standalone book. It was actually just a small poem.
Yeah.
And upon Tolkien's death, he gifted it to his assistant, Joy Hill. Say, here's the book. It's yours, the present. You own it. It's your copyright. You can do whatever you want. She called Donald Swan, and he recorded a version of that for her. So even after his death, Donald Swan was the only one getting Tolkien commissions.
Man, first of all, that knowledge in itself is worth the price of admission. Thank you so much for that's something I didn't even know, and I'm somebody who subscribes to know pretty much everything. But thank you so much. That was awesome, man. So Glamdring, man, hats off to you for knowing that, man, and hats off to you for explaining that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. There's a guy online. His name is Richard Leonberger. You can put him in YouTube, and he did a whole paper and a dissertation for college for his degree on this whole piece. So it's like a 2-hour long video. You can hear all the history and hear all the performances. It's phenomenal.
Awesome.
He's a better singer than I am. He's probably a better lore master than I am too by his words. He's very, very well read and phenomenal performer. You guys have to go check him out.
Yeah, so everybody check him out. And like once again, thanking Glamdring Tim for the wonderful knowledge, man. It's excellent, man. Excellent. Kali, I think we should jump into the music from the movies. Created by none other than Howard Shore.
Howard Shore, yes. Yeah. So a lot of people will say that the best thing Peter Jackson did in the movies was it get Howard Shore to do the music for them. And the music definitely made the movies and were a big part of it. What do you guys want to say about the movie scores?
I mean, there's some scores that go so well hand in hand with the Lord of the Rings movies that you can't differentiate them from like the books or anything. Now they're just a part of it. The Rohan theme, literally, you can't see the Rohirrim without thinking that. No matter what medium you're thinking about the Rohirrim, literally that booming theme with the horses it's stuck in your head. I find the same thing when the Nazgul are coming and it's like
very iconic sounds.
Iconic sounds,
the characters.
So those are the things that I love about Howard Shore's music. Is the sweeping sound and the urgency in the music, the triumphant. It's triumphant at times, sad at other times. It elicits emotions that are literally perfect for the time being. I always like to say in hip hop, there's a song called "Survival of the Fittest" by a group called Mobb Deep, and unlike any other song in hip hop, the beat makes me feel exactly like the words are saying. So if you guys haven't checked that out, it's a very deep, dark song about being in the streets and having to survive. And many times people just rap to any old type of beats, but the beat in that song literally matches the words, and it makes you feel like how the words make you feel. And I think it's a perfect marriage. So I think that is exactly how Howard Shore did the soundtrack for the Lord of the Rings. He matches your emotions with what's going on in the scenes extremely well, and according to based upon and according to where you are and who you're following. It's not just some random theme. Like when you're following the Rohirrim, that sounds like the Rohirrim. When you're following the Nine, that sounds like the Nine. When you're in Gondor, it's like, oh wow, like the Hobbiton. It's like completely feels like I'm in Hobbiton. Like, like
Mm-hmm.
you don't feel dreary and down. It makes perfect sense. So, Callie, what is your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I was pretty much pretty much the same. I mean, the themes that he made for each of the sort of groups. So Gollum has the theme, and it's sort of like mysterious and snaky, and you've got the Rohirrim theme, and that's strong. And I personally anyway always really liked sort of the even star theme, the music that goes with Arwen. It's sort of that very slow, very calming. It has the high the singing in Elvish. And I used to just love, I used to fall asleep to that music. um
Mm-hmm.
and so this was before we had like MP3s and playlists and soundtracks. So I was falling asleep listening to The Fellowship of the Ring on my, on my headphones, and and you'd have Concerning Hobbits, and it's do 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 do, and you're sort of like yay, and you're in a happy mood, and then it gets luller, like more slow, and then you're falling asleep. But then if I didn't turn off my silly Walkman by the time Bridge of Khazad-dûm came on, boom, you were awake. Ah, ah,
Yeah.
ah, oh god. So that's where, all my love for the music started there. And yeah, the themes that he makes, the vocal parts that for the elven bits, always get me personally. They're just beautiful. What about you, Tim?
So I too listened to it on my Walkman with my headphones on, laying at home. I remember one day taking off my headphones and just saw my father like, "You've been singing Elvish like for the past 10 minutes, going la da 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 da." Like, oh, sorry, Dad, I kind of like this. So I really love Howard Shore. There's so many good things you can go see about this soundtrack, the parallels, the way he uses themes. Like you can follow the thread of the Fellowship theme through the whole trilogy, and
Yes.
depending how many people of the Fellowship are there, it'll have more instruments in it. Like he does stuff like that, little
Little
things.
nuances, yeah.
Mm.
There's little ties together. Like I was messing around with some music, and the Barad-dûr Sauron's theme is almost identical, just uses different instruments than the Lothlorien theme. It's almost the
Oh.
same key. It's almost the same notes. It's just presented so differently that you have a completely different reaction to it.
Oh man,
Um,
yeah.
I
Remember,
love
Dol
the.
Guldur and Lothlorien were fighting
Oh
back and
yeah,
forth, and he was trying to see her, and she was stopping him, and so that is awesome. That is a great. Oof, wow, that's
there's so much of that in it. I love the standalone songs from each movie. The trailer music. They're all very great. I can't listen to Into the West sometimes because I just get emotional. It's very good.
Yeah.
Um,
Gollum song makes me sad.
it's it's
By
it's all very good.
Emiliana Torini. It's good, but it's so lonely. It's oh,
Hmm.
heartbreaking.
mm-mm-mm.
Yeah, the music is so important now in for all of this to me. Just I think about the concerning hobbits. I think about that when I think of the Shire. The all of these different themes are so palpable, um, and they tie in so well. It's a musical, like I said. The books are musicals, so it's good that we don't get all the songs in the movies, but we do have these phenomenal themes that kind of carry that thread.
Phenomenal.
If you look at the song "The Great River," and go back to the same song again, there's voices at the beginning, and you cannot hear what they're saying. They're singing Namadie. It's the same lyrics. It's the first three lines from Namadie. Just
Yeah,
listen real closely. It's there. He put so much effort into this,
that's
and
and
it holds true.
it's literally that goes to show the sign of a great filmmaker, the sign of a great
Composer.
soundtrack maker, composer. How important the work is that they're doing, and how important the Lord of the Rings is for them to put that much of an effort into it, and not just do some arbitrary theme that kind of when it gets exciting, it gets exciting. It when it gets lulled and slowed down, but the subtleties of the words from a specific song being in it and you hardly hearing it, and then Glamdring being able to tell us something like that, and the meaning behind it is just it's unparalleled. And I think that without Howard Shore, we'd have a much less exciting and great movie. So and let's give Howard Shore a round of applause. I don't think he gets enough credit for what he did. So these are the things, guys, that we are talking about as far as the music of Arda, the creation of Arda, the importance of the songs, the descriptiveness of the songs, the way we can relate to the songs, the music in itself, the instruments, the voices behind the songs, the battles with the songs, the power of the songs. All these things we talked about and discussed in our second episode of Voices of Arda. And literally, it's food for thought, something for you guys to think about. To now you can pick up on when you pick up the book. Also, if something you didn't pay attention to when you read the books, it's something for you to look forward to and to do. So before we wind this episode down, I typically ask a question. Last week, I asked Kali a very specific set of questions. I'm going to ask another very specific set of questions, and this is going to be a reoccurring theme. This time I'm going to switch up who I'm asking them about, but the same questions. So Glamdring and Kali, I'm going to ask you both 3 questions, okay? So,
Okay.
All right. If you had a chance to marry one of the elves, who would you marry? Who would you choose to protect you? And then who would you choose to fight against? Glamdring, you go first.
An elf. So I get to pick an elf to marry.
Yes.
An elf to protect me.
Protect
and one
you.
to fight against.
Yes.
All right. So it can be all time, right?
Yeah.
I'm picking Muriel for my wife because she would bring about the greatest son to ever live.
Well, Muriel.
But then, okay, all right, it's okay. Okay, give it to him.
My progeny would literally shape the history of the world.
He's aware of what happens to Muriel, so we'll let him.
I was like, okay. I was like, okay, she knows she's gonna die, but all right.
I'm not an elf, so I won't live forever without her.
Well, she might not die. She may not. The fate may be different because you're the husband.
That's very true.
Yeah.
So if we're going off of that, so I'll stick with Muriel. Screw.
Okay.
So
Muriel to marry.
I have one protecting me. I will pick Bellig Strongbow.
Oh.
I
love Bellig
because I will stay far away from Turin. And if I have to fight someone, is it somebody I don't like or somebody who's weak? So let's pick.
I typically say somebody you don't like. That's the point of that question. I don't like this guy. I want to punch him in his face. I want to Will Smith him.
So I will have Bellig Strongbow, Will Smith, Thranduil, because he's a jerk.
Okay. All right.
So there we go. Muriel, Bellig,
and
Thranduil. Okay. Everyone's going to hate me online for the Thranduil thing. Everyone loves it.
All right. Okay.
I expressed in the last episode that I didn't love him either. So it's okay. It's okay.
All
this is a hard question. There are so many of them, dude.
Elf you want to marry, elf you want to protect you, and elf you want to fight.
So Luthien counts, right, as one of the elves?
Yes.
Yeah. So I would marry her because I definitely have the girl crush on her.
Okay.
Yeah. To protect me, I guess I would say Galadriel because she does this whole thing and everything bad just goes away. She just holds out her hand and it's just like, woo, all my problems are solved. Where'd that guy go? He's not there anymore. And to fight, I would fight Legolas Greenleaf.
The whole family.
What? All right, you got to explain this one. People are going to riot. People are going to riot when they hear this.
I would fight Legolas because it would be the most cinematic video game fight of all time. Like if he can jump upwards on bricks, then why cannot I? Right? If I can fight according to the physics of how he fights, I want to be in that fight.
I hear that. I hear that. I hear that.
All right, your answers.
All right, all right. So if I had to marry someone, it would be Idril Celebrindo. I would definitely marry her because I
Adrian.
would get to live in Gondolin. She's
Okay.
beautiful,
Okay.
and like just think about it. She's awesome. I love
I
Idril.
gotta guess who you'd
She,
kill now.
she's also smart. She decided to make the way of escape, north, and she said, "Don't tell Megalyn about this." So she's very discreet and smart. So Idril is definitely my pick for marriage. Who I would have protect me is Ecthelion. I would have Ecthelion protect me because he slayed Gothmog and he slayed more orcs than any other elf ever put together. And he is that dude. And he also sings wonderful music like my man Glamdring over here. He plays the flute. You know what I'm saying? He's the Lord of the Fountain. He's the warden of the Great Gate of Gondolin. And I'd still be in Gondolin. So he'd be right there protecting me. So definitely Ecthelion. You know what I'm saying? And then as far as who I would want to fight, it would be Megalyn. First of all, why are you looking at my girl? You're sick. That's your cousin, my guy. That's your cousin, my G. Why are you trying to bag my girl? That's your cousin. You know what I'm saying? I will punch you dead in your mouth for doing that. I would wild out on him. You know what I'm saying? I would throw him off of Gondolin before Tuor got a chance to do, and I would just get him up out of here. He's a sicko. He betrayed Gondolin's location, and yeah, I'm not with none of that. I'm with the smoke, and I want to fight him. So it would be Idril, was who I would marry, Ecthelion to protect me, and you know what I'm saying? And then me and Ecthelion would jump Megalyn. We'd whoop his ass.
He had it coming.
He
He
had it
definitely
coming.
had it coming.
So, yeah, man. So, yeah, that was a great question. That was a great episode. Before we get out of here, Callie, recap our socials and our podcast, starting with you. Let's go.
All right, so to recap my social, I am KaliCosplay, primarily found on TikTok. But what I'm most proud of in terms of my socials is the Discord, where we have created just this amazing Tolkien themed community.
Hmm.
And so join that. Find me, KaliCosplay, on TikTok. Go to the link in my bio and hit up that Discord because it is the place to be. Can we
Yes.
find you, NewBetta?
Okay, man. New Better Do Better. You can find me on TikTok as New Better Do Better, all one word. Is KnewBettaDoBetta, all one word. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, pretty much everything with that. Also, make sure you follow this podcast, Voices of Arda. Type it in YouTube. Also, the episodes are up on Spotify. So we'll be expanding and going to more platforms very soon, but make sure you do that. And last but definitely not least, GlamdringFoehammer. Where can we find your stuff, my guy?
You can find me on TikTok under, you guessed it, GlamdringFoehammer. I also occasionally will stream on Twitch, GlamdringFoehammer 15, and you can find me in that same Discord. Whenever I stream, I post it there. So if you ever want to get in contact with me, you can reach me at these people's Discord. It's a wonderful place. I've had fun just hanging out. There's memes, there's
It's so much fun.
discourse, there's awesome links to things you might have never seen before.
Yeah.
And other than that, I mean, yeah, follow me on TikTok and I'll update you from there. I don't have much going yet.
Yeah, awesome, man. Awesome.
That's
Callie,
awesome.
leave us out of this episode. Lead us out of this episode with one of your wonderful self-care tips, and then we are out.
And then we are out. So before the self-care tip, though, questions, comments, suggestions, guest requests for this podcast can be emailed to voicesofarda@gmail.com. VOICESOFARDA@gmail.com. And to wrap us off with the self-care tip of the week, stop, pause, press play. So many studies are showing now how music positively affects the mind, body, and soul. It increases dopamine levels and has an effect on our breathing and our heart rate. So, to incorporate music into your self care routine, make playlists for certain moods or intentions. So, you might want to have your confidence booster hype up playlist ready to go when you're getting ready for something, and then have a calm down sort of breathe with me playlist for when you're unwinding at night. You can also make playlists that will help you process difficult emotions, such as grieving the loss of a loved one. Maria von Trapp once said, "Music acts like a magic key to which the most tightly closed heart opens." So, coming back around to my joke with the keys, wrapping it all up in a nice little circle.
Beautiful.
And then and to leave out on this wonderful music, the music Arda outro by my man GlamdringFoehammer himself. Yes. Awesome. See you guys later.
Yeah.